If reports are to be believed, Celtic are closing in on their first signing of the January transfer window. And it's not even December yet. Let's go back in time. Left back likely to be a major issue for Celtic this January. Certainly supporters feel that that's perhaps the number one area that's in need of strengthening. Yes, we've got some options there. Do we have a number one left back who we can hang our hat on? I'd say the answer is no at the moment, quite frankly. Perhaps Reo Hatate could be that guy coming over from Japan. He currently plays for the runaway leaders in the J-League, Kawasaki Frontale. I think Hatate is the kind of player you just sign and then you find a role for him in the team. I think he's that good. I would be very surprised if Ange is compiling a list of, say, 10 or 12 players currently playing in the J-League that can make it at Celtic if Hatate wasn't on it. There we go. That was from a video we did at the start of November titled 5 J-League talents Celtic could sign in January or something similar to that. It featured Dason Maeda, the Yokohama F. Marinos striker, top scorer in the J-League, and I think it's fair to say he is someone that Celtic fans expect to see coming into the club in January. There have been many reports about him in the last few weeks and months. The other player, or another player we mentioned on that video, Reo Hatate, it seems like he is also very close to joining Celtic. Now, there's been a report on this just this morning, so it's very fresh news. It's from the Scottish Daily Mail's Stephen McGowan. You know by now, a very trusted source when it comes to Celtic news, especially Celtic transfer news. Today, he says Celtic are, quote, well down the road to completing a deal for Hatate and that he could become the club's first January signing. Hatate is also reported to have said his final goodbyes to fans and teammates at current club Kawasaki Frontale. Hatate is a very versatile player who has played in a number of positions already this season. When I first looked at him about 6 or 7 weeks ago, I did have him down as a left back who could play in attacking areas as well. I think he's actually more of an attacker now who could also play at left back, so there's a bit of a change there. He's netted 5 goals for Kawasaki this season. Now, they are the runaway leaders of the J1 League. They're 13 points clear of Ange's old side, Yokohama F. Marinos, and 21 points clear of Kyogo's old side, Vissel Kobe, who are in third place. Now, Kawasaki have one more league game next Saturday, funnily enough, against Yokohama F. Marinos. The weekend after that, they then have the semi-finals of the Emperor's Cup, the big cup competition in Japan, with the finals scheduled for the week after, the exact same day as Celtic will take on Hibs at Hampden. So in terms of Hatate and Kawasaki Frontale season, there's still a couple of weeks to go. I personally don't see why Celtic would try and sign him before the end of their season when we can't play him until January anyway. So I don't really understand the report about him saying goodbye to his fans and teammates, but maybe Celtic are keen to get him in for training or something in December. But the reality of this situation is that we're going to be able to get him on a cut price deal if we have to pay anything at all. His contract is up at the end of January of next year, so we're either going to get him for nothing at the end of that and have to wait till the end of January, or more likely he's going to come in at the start of January. I don't see why his current club would want to hold on to him till the end of January if he's not going to be part of their plans for their next season. So I think the most logical scenario is that he plays the rest of his club season in Japan, 3 or 4 weeks to go, and then signs for Celtic probably at the start of January and beds into the club in the whole of January. I don't think anyone could really argue with that. Now, he has turned 24 now. He was 23 years old when we last spoke about him on the channel. He's still to be fully capped by Japan, but he is said to be on the cusp of a call-up, and I think by moving to Scotland he would accelerate that process. Interestingly, Boys Analytics on Twitter points out that Hatate is very used to playing a high-pressing game at Kawasaki. that is going to be very beneficial given that he's coming to Celtic to play under Ange. In terms of how he would fit into life at Celtic and fit into the Celtic team, it's difficult to know. As I say, he's very versatile. Lots of people have seen him playing at left back, but he can play in a number of attacking positions too. He's actually a bit of a poacher as well, judging by a goal he scored just earlier today for Kawasaki. They won, I think, 4-0 or 4-1, and he scored a pretty ugly looking goal, but it was a real poacher's goal. So he clearly has a lot of different parts to his game. Incidentally, by the way, Dason Maeda also scored earlier today, so both players seem to be in form. We know that Ange likes players who are versatile. Kyogo and Josip Juranovic are the obvious examples that spring to mind, two players who Ange basically picks whenever they're fit, even if he has to play them out of position. So Hatate could be another player who could play in a number of areas, and that's obviously not a bad thing to have in the squad. I don't think you'd find too many people unhappy if this deal goes through at all. He looks excellent from, yes, YouTube clips. I'm aware that they have a whole thing around them. But his touch is great. He uses his body well. He has just this great low centre of gravity as well that so many players in Japan seem to have. Kyogo has it to an extent as well. I'm quite excited about this one. I think the guy could very well do a job for us if he's brought in, and I think he could maybe not have quite the same impact as Kyogo, but certainly be a worthwhile addition to the squad. Okay, Aberdeen tomorrow at Celtic Park. I'll be honest, everyone, and you know I'm usually the confident type who tips us to win every game. I'm a bit worried about this tomorrow. I've just got a wee something in the back of my mind thinking it might be tougher than people are expecting tomorrow. Aberdeen have had a poor season. They're sitting in 8th in the table at the moment. They've had a shocker. They're actually only 5 points above the relegation zone and have played a game more than the 4 teams below them. Their real downfall this season so far has been against those kind of teams at the bottom of the table. They've actually performed quite well in the so-called bigger games. They ran us close at Pittodrie. We're a few minutes away from getting a point. They were famously 2-0 up at Ibrox and got a point. They beat Hibs and Hearts in recent weeks. So they have the ability to up their game on the big occasion. And tomorrow is obviously going to be one of their biggest games of the season. But I think my real fear, probably strangely, doesn't really come from Aberdeen. It kind of comes from Celtic, and it's not meant as a slight against Ange or the players. It's just this season, whenever things have seemed to be going well and you're finally getting a bit excited and you're thinking, God, this team is going places. I feel like we've always had a wee setback this season, whether that be drawing 0-0 at home to Livingston when no one expected it, or the Dundee United draw, or losing away at Livingston. There's always been a wee setback that we've had to get over, and I just hope it's not tomorrow. I hope that Celtic can keep winning, because as much as we're looking across the city, and yeah, we know they're a bit of a basket case at the moment, and I think they will drop points in the coming weeks. We are still 4 points behind, and there's a good chance we go into Sunday's game 7 points behind. So it really is a must-win for Celtic, and we just have to keep winning games. In terms of injury news on the Aberdeen side, they are missing Funso Ojo after that quite ridiculous red card at Tannadice last week. So he's out. Joining him out, Calvin Ramsey, Jack McKenzie and Declan Gallagher, they're all injured, I believe. That will likely mean that for about the 4th or 5th game in a row for Aberdeen, that Scott Brown will play at centre-back tomorrow. Yes, you heard that right. Celtic legend Scott Brown playing at centre-back for Aberdeen at Celtic Park. Hopefully Bruni gets the reception that he deserves tomorrow back at Celtic Park. It'll be great to see a modern-day Celtic legend back home, and I think especially given that we didn't really get a chance last season to say goodbye to him, it'll be excellent tomorrow. I expect him to get a brilliant reaction, and I expect Scott Brown's appearance alone to probably add a few thousand onto the crowd. Obviously people are going mainly to see Celtic, but I think Scott Brown is a big draw. He's a Celtic legend, and as I say, it'll be great to see him back. In terms of Celtic, it's difficult to do team news because Ange hasn't done a pre-match presser. He doesn't tend to do them after the Europa League matches. We'll likely still be missing Georgios Giacomakis and also Karel Starfelt as well. Ange had said earlier in the week that he was hoping to get Tom Rogic back in the team. kind of feel like it might come a little bit too soon for Rogic to start, but he could be a very big option for us off the bench, just like he was in the previous game at Pittodrie. Nir Bitton picked up a head knock on Thursday, so it will just depend on whether he's ready or not. But Ange has been talking up James McCarthy in recent days. And on that note, let's just look at my team. Of course, Joe Hart in goals, a back four of Anthony Ralston, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Stephen Welsh and Josip Juranovic. I have gone for James McCarthy. I'm going with him until the death in holding midfield, with Callum McGregor and David Turnbull in front of him, James Forrest on the right, Kyogo through the middle and Jota on the left. I'm worried about this one for some daft reason. Hopefully it's based on absolutely nothing at all, and hopefully Celtic come away with a resounding victory tomorrow. I think we would all take just 3 points though. Aberdeen at home is never easy, and I don't think tomorrow will be any different. We will have the reaction after the game for you.